So the question has become here recently and for the most part of this year, are people still looking at Wyoming to move to? So the answer has been yes. That's hard to believe with kind of the slowdown of the real estate market. May feel to you that things are shifting a little bit, and they have. We're likely going through the second reset in 12 months. We've seen a spike there again, end of September, first part of October a year ago. And then things have just been kind of tailing off ever since with a little bit of juggling here and there, minus land sales. Land sales are through the roof, but housing, commercial, industrial, rural residential, those types of real estate markets have just, kind of gone like this for the last 12 months. But one thing that I want to zero in on is to answer the question, are people still looking to move to Wyoming? And the answer is yes. I'm going to show you why. Google Trends. Google tracks things. Real simple search. You can do this on your computer at home or on your phone. But anyway, I went through the United States in the last 30 days and I did the search term real estate. Um, we go down here by interest by sub-region. Let me be very clear, Wyoming's still in the top four in the last 30 days. Now, what's interesting is I'm going to show you here in a second where Wyoming kind of dipped down below the top five, but then it's come back up, and we're kind of seeing a reemergence of interest here. So that's in the last 30 days. I'm going to hit the last 90. So the last 3 months, here's where we see where Wyoming dipped down below the top five. Uh, you know, in the last 3 to 4 years, Wyoming has hovered in the top five. Okay. But now we're seeing it, this was one of the first times we see it kind of dip a little bit, which, you know, all measures of the imagination wasn't much. And then, we jump back over here in the past 12 months, we see it still in the top five. So anyway, we still see people looking to move here. Other top states, which are interesting in the last 12 months, would be Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. That one always is interesting to me. And then Montana, Wyoming. And Montana, Wyoming seem to volley back and forth a little bit, in my opinion. Um, Probably because of the great outdoors and the amount of elbow room we have here, right? So anyway, for those of you that have been wondering, here's a clue. Wyoming is still being sought after, even though we are seeing kind of buyer pressure kind of deflate a little bit. It is still very real. And by all means of the imagination, it's still a seller's market. We may not be selling them in 3 days, but it may take 3 months. Still a seller's market by the definition of a seller's market. A little bit neutral in some price ranges. If we look at maybe half million to million, that one's kind of turned into a little bit of a buyer's market. That 350 to 500 price range, 500,000 price range, neutral type market. Anything less than 350, still a seller's market. So anyway, it just kind of depends on price range a little bit. Anything over a million, like a million to 2 million, definitely a buyer type market. Um, and of course, it depends on the property itself, right? Is it on 100 acres or is it on a quarter of an acre? Does it have a big house, a small house, a mediocre house? What type of improvements does it have? Like when you start dicing it up like that, the story, the narrative kind of changes a little bit. But just looking at the sheer basics, that's the information I can share with you. So anyway, hope that helps, and I hope that kind of, for some of you, you don't want to hear that Wyoming's being still on the chase. And people want to move here, but the reality of it is we're still seeing that. So be prepared, especially if interest rates drop. Which after the big meetings in Jackson Hole last weekend, I think there's a chance that that's going to be on the forefront. Time will tell. Obviously, none of us can predict what's going to happen here in the near future. But it was the first time in probably 4 years, 4.5 years, where we've seen some conversation of, yeah, maybe we need to ease up a little bit. So who knows? Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the next video. Talk to you later.